What do you make of this second video now you've seen it?
Well, I had the same opinion at the beginning. You need to see the whole picture. And I'm really cross with the media for not expressing that. They should not have been reporting. And, I blame the media for the Manchester police station protest because everyone was thinking they were victims. Police need protecting, okay? And it should be zero tolerance if you assault a police officer. Zero tolerance means expect to be shot. Right? Those people assaulted the police officers because our police are perceived as a joke to some people because they're too soft.
I don't think we want to live in a country where the police shoot at will.
I don't want to live in a country where police officers get assaulted and injured. Thank you.
Well, I don't either, but I think it's quite a big leap to then say the way to stop that is just to shoot everyone.
I didn't say to shoot everyone. That's not what I said at all.
You said anyone who gets into any kind of altercation can expect to be shot.
No. If a police officer is assaulted by a member of the public, expect to be shot. That police officer didn't do enough.
Is that proportionate?
Okay.
Is that proportionate to shoot someone?
Yes, that man's life. That man watching the video, he probably believed, very rightly so, his life was in danger, being punched at least 10 times. And I listened to Sheila Fogarty in the week. No one talked about how that police officer might have been injured 10 times being punched. Who knows? He could have been punched in the eye, in the head. He might not have been able to see properly. Yeah. And also being tasered. Some men can get up from it. Okay?
All right, Natalie.
You can get up from it. It's not foolproof.
I've watched the fresh video, and yes, it's disorder, and yes, it's uncomfortable, and yes, these people have caused assaults on the police. However, it doesn't alter my view of the police's action. This is a person, the guy in blue, who was on the floor, supine. And the policeman, having been hit himself, backed away, come up, ran and kicked him on the in the head and stamped on him. Now, this person, the police officer, I separate them from the general public. General public are not trained into public order. They're not trained in any of those things. And this does happen. The police officer is. That's their training, to deal with disruptive, violent issues. And for me, the nub of this and the worry for me is that police officer has been granted permission by me and the government, Home Office, to carry a weapon to protect himself and me. And yet this officer lost his control. Now, pepper spray was used, tasers was used, he kicked people in the head, but he lost his control. And that is a dangerous situation for someone we put our trust in, that we will allow you to carry a loaded weapon. And I'm saying that, I said to your producer, I'm coming at this from the point of view of having been in those situations. I was in the military during the 70s. We were there at the start of the troubles in Northern Ireland, when in 1971, 72, when disruption and violent disorder things was at least weekly occurrence that we had to stand up to and do it. But it was drilled into us of the self-control that we needed in order not to escalate, or, we military were carrying loaded weapons. And that is, it's a huge, huge responsibility. It takes lives. And yet this police officer lost his control at such an early stage in this confrontation. He had been punched. I agree with that. No, punch knocking about, but there was, to my understanding, there was no weapons involved. There was no other threat to life other than maybe injuries, and yet he lost control. That's what I saw by him kicking that person in the head, and that is my worry. If our officers can lose control so quickly, then I worry for people's safety. So it doesn't change my opinion of what the officer did. It gives me more context, but it doesn't change my opinion that what the officer did was an example of them of him losing control and assaulting a member of the public.
Okay. All right, Peter, thank you for your call this morning. Let's talk to Christine, who's a new caller from Cornwall. Good morning to you, Christine.
Hello there. My first time, a bit nervous.
Don't be nervous at all. Nothing to worry about. Peter there was saying that he thinks the police officer acted wrongly in that situation. You're a former police officer, is that right?
Yes.
So how do you feel about what you've seen?
Well, if I put it all into context, when I was a teenager, my cousin in London struck a police officer. He went to prison for 18 months, quite rightly. That's how it was. You hit a copper, you went to prison. By the time I was in the force, I joined in 1990, it had gotten to the stage where the going rate for smacking a copper was probably 20, 30 quid fine or sit in the back of the court for the rest of the day. Nothing really happened. So there was no reason not to smack the copper if you was being arrested. And so I think that if we don't, and that has been eroded to that stage by the very establishment that we all look towards for protection. If we don't protect the officers, they're not going to protect us, are they? You've got to protect the protectors in some way. And for that chap to react the way he did, the police officer, it's totally understandable. It's so easy to sit with your cup of coffee and dip your biscuit in and look at that video and say, oh, well, he should have done that, he shouldn't have done that. Try being in that situation and just see how you feel then.
Yeah, and I can understand that. I can understand that what you're saying there, Christine. And we tried to talk about this yesterday, actually, on my show yesterday, and people got very upset at the suggestion that there may be a broader context here, because some people look at that video and they say, no matter what happened in the run-up, it's still wrong to kick someone in the head if they're face down on the floor. Do you think that actually, having been a police officer yourself, do you not think that there is a moment where the police have to show more restraint than members of the public? I mean, they are, after all, in the position of relative power there. Do they, even though their every fibre might be screaming to protect themselves and to fight back, is there not something professionally that says actually you shouldn't then be kicking people in the head?
Of course, as a general rule, obviously. But don't forget they're people. They're not robots. They're not machines. They are people. And they're subject to the same feelings and fears as anybody else is. And also bear in mind as well the way the respect for the police has been eroded in all sorts of areas, notably pay. So if you really want people that are going to be so iconic and so godly and so on a pedestal, you really need to be thinking about the position, the respect that they are given, the support that they are given by the establishment. They don't get support by the establishment. They don't get support from the public. Obviously some people do support them. I fully support them. Okay. But I think that it's not just that one incident that you can judge everything by. That bloke must have been very scared. The man on the floor was not in control. He wasn't handcuffed. He wasn't in control. He had lots of mates with him. There was all sorts of little scuffles going on all around. He had to get that bloke under control, and that's what he did. Okay, Christine, thanks so much for your first call. I hope it went well for you. I thought it was a good, interesting view to have. And Reece is also a new caller in Tottenham. Hi, Reece.
Hello, how you doing? You okay?
I'm good, thanks. So what do you make of this argument that actually the police officer was just doing what he had to do in that moment? It's confusing. He's just been punched repeatedly. He's just trying to get control of the situation. He kicks the guy in the face. But some would say in that scenario, you can kind of understand how he got to that point.
To be totally honest with you, I can understand to an extent what the last lady said. Obviously, you're a human. You can lose control. But at the same time, you have a responsibility to protect the public, and that was your job. So no matter how angry or how upset you get, you still have to keep your composure, which is something you would obviously get taught in your police training. Now, like I said, I can understand losing your cool, but if a man is on the ground, he's face down, there's no need for you to stamp on his head. At that point, you could definitely arrest him. And once again, like the last woman said, there were other members of this man's group around him, but there were also other police officers there. So even if the man was to arrest him and another member of the public attacked him, surely he would think, okay, my police officers have been attacked. There's a chance to be able to defend me still. I just can't see any way when a man is clearly an opportunity to be detained why he wouldn't arrest him and instead choose to stamp on his head. I can't see why someone would justify that, because like I said, you're not a member of the public. You have to be different. You have to be able to keep your composure because that's part of your training.
Okay. Reece, thank you for your call this morning. Let's squeeze in Tony as well, who's in Islington. Morning, Tony.
Hello, good morning. Yes, I was just going to say that, imagine that was a nurse that kicked the man, or a social worker, or a youth worker. We wouldn't be saying all this, would it? Would we? I don't know why police are given such leeway to do what they like. They serve the public. Nurses, social workers, youth workers get attacked as well. But they could not respond in such a manner. The police were there, and the video evidence was enough for that young man to be convicted for assaulting a police officer, rather than acting that way, and a lot of people giving the police excuses that, they acted in, confusion and all of that stuff. Whilst if it was other members of the public, they wouldn't give them that same leeway. So why should we give the police that?
I think some people, Tony, say the police get a harder time, that the police often get a harder time than other members of society do.
They do because of the nature of their job, yes. But many other public servants public officials also get attacked in the same way like that, and they cannot respond in such a manner because they'd be sacked without question.
Well, and they're not armed as well, so they don't have the tools necessarily to get that situation under control. Tony, thank you.
Well, I think we all looked with horror back in 2020 with the police in the United States and what they were doing with George Floyd. Well, at least most of us looked in horror, and here we are. 4 years later, in the UK, I am absolutely appalled. There is nothing that excuses stamping on a man's face. It's abhorrent. Surely the training, the psychiatric evaluation of that police officer would have been that he did not get to that situation.
And does that video that's released today make you feel any differently at all? Because now you can see what happened in the run-up. No, you still feel as though that in that moment the police officer was wrong.
Listen, these guys should have been trained, people should have been trained not to even got there. And I also question, and I do question, if these people are, say, being a bit of drunken white people on their way to Futura, and behaving in the way if this would have happened. And I have to question that.
Okay, so you think there is a racial element to this?
I think there may be. And whether on the surface or deep down, I don't know.
When you see it first, I thought it was poor policing. I just thought it was chaotic policing. What I've seen since yesterday, I just thought, the police, they were under a lot of pressure at the time. They had to control the situation. It's unfortunate that the police he probably lost his cool a little bit, but you can understand why. I don't think he should be suspended. I just think maybe he needs a bit of training, give him a couple of weeks off and get him back on the street, because you need people like that. I just feel like with the way public services are at the moment, there's just not enough police. There should have been a lot more police there. And it's just unfortunate the way that, it was reported when it first came out. If that was my son, and I will tell you this, I would beat my son if he did that to a police officer.
Okay, so even though he had his head kicked by the police officer, you would still say, look, you shouldn't have been doing that.
Absolutely, because he wouldn't have had his head kicked in by the police officer had he not have reacted that way.
Okay, interesting that fresh video has sort of changed your mind a bit there then, Mohamad, and given you fresh insight into what happened, because some people just felt that they'd already made their minds up yesterday, regardless of what had happened in the run-up to it. They felt that context was irrelevant, but you say no, it does matter what happened in the run-up.
Absolutely does. I think... I think where we've got it wrong is the way it's been reported. They sent out the wrong footage at the wrong time. Basically, had they sent had it been done the other way round, you'd probably be having a different sort of discussion, and perhaps those people would not have gone outside the police station in Rochdale and protested in the way that they did. But the police have got a very, very difficult job to do. They're under enormous pressure, and I think they get a very tough, hard time by the public, by the media as well. So I think it's just a bit unfair, just the way it's been reported, I think.
There's a massive lack of respect for the police in this country at the moment. We've got people running around cities with machetes. We've got kids stealing mobile phones from people on mopeds. And every day a police officer goes out to do their job. They never know what they're going to face. It must be terrifying sometimes. I certainly wouldn't want to do it. And I'm not surprised people don't want to be police officers and they've got such a recruitment crisis, because who would want to? Yeah, okay, the guy was heavy-handed, but I think we do need to see a return to a situation where people do fear the police to a degree. Yes, they're there to help us, but they also need to enforce the law, and we've gone way too far to the left now. The guy at the airport, he assaulted another officer, and if that was my wife or my daughter or one of my female friends, I think I would probably see the red mist as well. And he is only human at the end of the day. It's a terrible situation where we've got a police force that can't enforce the law and can't protect people. And that's what he was trying to do.
Okay, Ritchie, thank you for your call this morning. The difficulty is, I suppose, that some people hold police officers to a higher standard because they're in a professional position, aren't they? And we might say, if that was me and I was getting punched in the head, the red mist might come down, etc., etc., etc. But that's why, there's a difference, isn't there, between being a civilian and getting in a pub fight or whatever and being a police officer and being in a professional position. I suppose there is an expectation, there definitely is an expectation of more restraint. It's difficult. It's why, as Ritchie was saying, maybe it's difficult recruiting police officers because it's a tough job.